Many people after 60 gradually get used to things that aren't so pleasant. Sleep becomes light. They wake up in the middle of the night without knowing why. Their breath carries a strange odor, even though they brush their teeth every day. The body feels heavy. Even just standing up feels like effort. And food no longer brings joy. They think, maybe this is just old age. I guess that's how it is now. And slowly they accept it, living with discomfort as something inevitable with time. But at Elderly TV, we believe it's not always like that. Sometimes the issue isn't age. It's how we take care of or forget about our own bodies each day. From Kansas to Florida, from peaceful small towns to busy neighborhoods, Elderly TV has listened to hundreds of real-life stories. There are people who lived in silent fatigue for years, thinking there was no way out, until one day they changed something very small, like spending just a few extra minutes a day, cleaning one overlooked area of their body. And then they realized their bodies were still capable of feeling good. Their sleep could still be restful. Their minds could still feel fresh again. A 72-year-old man once told us, "I thought I had chronic insomnia, but it turned out I just wasn't cleaning one small spot on my body properly every night." A 68-year-old woman shared, "I used to wake up every morning with a foggy head and tired body. Now I just take 3 minutes a day, and everything feels different." The change didn't come from expensive supplements or fancy machines. It came from paying attention to the smallest details of the body. Today, Elderly TV brings you those true experiences through the stories of Mr. Frank, Miss Helen, Mr. Thomas, 5 areas of the body familiar but often forgotten, and the remarkable changes they experienced. With just a few minutes of care each day, you might be overlooking something small, but that very thing could be the key to helping you feel stronger, sleep better, and live more peacefully after 60. 1. Tongue. When fresh breath returned and coffee tasted right again. Mr. Frank, 73 years old, lives in a quiet countryside town in Kansas. He's a meticulous man, brushing his teeth 3 times a day, using dental floss after every meal, and never missing a routine dental checkup. So when his 6-year-old grandson suddenly looked up at him and asked, "Grandpa, why does your breath smell funny every morning?" he froze for a moment. That one question lingered in his mind all day. Not because he was offended, but because the boy was right. Frank had noticed the strange morning breath himself many times, but had always brushed it off as just part of getting old. That evening he called Dr. Emma Harris, a longtime friend, and the doctor who had followed his health for nearly a decade. She spoke gently. "Frank, you're doing a great job brushing your teeth, but I think you've forgotten the most important part, your tongue." The tongue is home to over 700 types of bacteria, some helpful, but many responsible for bad breath gum disease, and even more serious issues like respiratory infections or heart complications. The next morning, Mr. Frank went to the local pharmacy and picked up a tongue scraper for less than $5. At first, he gave it a few clumsy swipes each morning, unsure of the motion. But within days, his hands became more confident, and something strange and wonderful began to happen. His morning breath slowly faded. Even before brushing his teeth, his daily cup of black coffee, something he'd been drinking for over 40 years, suddenly tasted richer, fuller. Breakfast became more enjoyable, no longer dulled by that odd, bland taste he had grown used to. Dr. Harris later explained, "By cleaning your tongue, you've reduced a major load of inflammation-causing bacteria. It's not just about fresh breath. It's also about easing the burden on your digestive system, and even giving your immune system a bit of a break." 3 weeks later, during a routine dental checkup, even Frank's dentist was surprised. Less gum inflammation, noticeably less plaque, and no more complaints about sensitivity to hot or cold foods. Now, tongue scraping is part of Frank's daily routine morning and night. Each gentle stroke from back to front reminds him of his grandson's innocent question and makes him smile. "Just 30 seconds, he says, but it's one of the smallest things I've done that made me fall back in love with life again." 2. Feet. Every step felt lighter after one small change. Mrs. Helen, 68, lives in Arizona where the sun is harsh and the air stays dry almost year-round. Each morning she wakes up early, makes a cup of tea, waters her plants, and quietly admires every blooming flower in her little backyard garden. Everyone who meets her says the same thing. She's tidy, careful, and always well put together. But for years, there was one thing. She could no longer do like she used to walk with ease. Her heels began to crack tiny splits like hairline fractures, but sharp and painful whenever her feet touched the floor. When she stepped out of bed, the soles of her feet pulled tight, shooting discomfort up to her calves. A simple 10-minute stroll around the yard, something she used to love, now left her massaging her feet for nearly an hour afterward. At first, she blamed aging, the dry climate, maybe even just bad luck. She tried new shoes, softer socks, expensive foot creams, but nothing truly worked. Then, during a routine checkup, Dr. Emma Harris, her longtime physician and friend, asked her a very simple question. "Helen, do you dry between your toes every day?" Helen paused a little confused. She had always just let water run down her legs in the shower. No scrubbing, no drying, no real attention. What she thought was normal turned out to be the root of it all. At your age, Dr. Harris explained, the skin on your feet is thinner, and circulation is naturally weaker. Just a bit of leftover moisture between the toes can be enough for fungus to grow, which leads to inflammation and slows healing. That's what causes those cracks to hurt more and last longer. From that day on, Helen made a few small but mindful changes. No more rushed showers. Each night, she sat down and gently washed her feet with warm water, mild soap and a soft cloth from heel to toe. She paid special attention between her toes, where bacteria and fungus love to hide. Then she dried each toe with a separate towel carefully, like wiping down a delicate crystal glass. Finally, she applied moisturizing cream to her soles and heels, but never between the toes to avoid trapping moisture. After just 2 weeks, her feet were transformed. Her heels no longer stung when stepping out of bed. Walking became easy again. No more aching returns from her garden strolls. And best of all, she slept through the night, undisturbed by that nagging pain. The part that made her smile most, each step now felt light, as if it had been given back to her. For Helen, the miracle didn't come from a bottle of pills or a fancy medical treatment. It came from simply paying attention to one small area of skin, one that had been overlooked for years. Just a few quiet minutes each night gave her back a feeling of strength and ease right from the ground up. 3. Armpits. Less odor, lighter body. Mr. Thomas, 74, lives in Florida, where the sun beats down almost all year long, making sweat a daily fact of life. He's a meticulous man living alone since his wife passed, and takes great pride in staying neat and clean. Each morning he puts on a fresh shirt. Every evening he showers and changes clothes again. Deodorant, not a single day missed. And yet, 3 things continued to puzzle him. His white t-shirts kept turning yellow under the arms, no matter how carefully he washed them. The skin under his arms sometimes itched, felt irritated, and occasionally broke out in small bumps. And strangest of all, there was always a faint body odor lingering, something he couldn't quite pinpoint or get rid of. At first he blamed the heat. It's just Florida, he thought. But during a routine checkup while chatting with Dr. Emma Harris, his longtime physician and trusted friend, she gently asked him one question. Do you ever wash your underarms thoroughly with a soft cloth and dry them completely before applying deodorant? Mr. Thomas shook his head. Like many people, he had always let water run over his underarms in the shower, patted them briefly with a towel, and applied deodorant right after. Dr. Harris smiled and explained, the underarms are packed with sweat glands, and more importantly, lymph nodes that help filter waste from the body. When you don't clean this area properly, sweat-dead skin cells, bacteria, and residue from deodorants build up. That buildup doesn't just cause irritation and lingering odor. It can slow down your body's detox process and weaken your immune response. From that day on, Mr. Thomas made a small but powerful change to his routine. He used a soft cloth soaked in warm water to gently wipe his underarms in circular motions, like polishing a precious object. He rinsed the area well with clean water to remove all soap and residue. He dried his underarms completely with a clean, separate towel, used only for that purpose. And most importantly, he waited a few minutes before applying deodorant to let the skin breathe. Within just a few days, he noticed clear results. The skin under his arms calmed down, no more itching or irritation. The body odor disappeared, even after gardening under the midday sun. His white shirts stayed white, no more yellow stains. But what he felt most clearly was a surprising lightness. No more discomfort. No more feeling like his body was struggling to release toxins. "It's like my immune system can finally breathe," he said during his next checkup. For Mr. Thomas, the solution didn't come from a new medication or an expensive product. It came from something much smaller, giving proper care to the skin under his arms each day. 4. Nose easier, breathing better sleep. Mrs. Rosa, 70 years old, lives alone in a small 5th-floor apartment in New York City. Every morning she likes to sit by the window, watch the busy traffic below, and take a deep breath to start her day. But for a long time now, that deep breath hasn't felt very deep at all. In winter, her nose would clog up every night. She had to stack pillows, tilt her head, and breathe through her mouth just to fall asleep. In spring, the sneezing wouldn't stop, no matter how tightly she closed her windows. And year-round, she always felt foggy. Her mind felt like it was wrapped in a mist. She was forgetful, tired, and always just a little out of breath, though she couldn't say why. At one point, she thought she had chronic sinusitis. She was ready to ask for a prescription. But during a routine checkup, Dr. Emma Harris, gentle as always, simply said, "Rosa, your nose isn't sick. It's just been neglected." Rosa blinked in surprise. Her nose, that thing that just works, how could it need care? Dr. Harris explained. "We breathe nearly 20,000 times a day. The nose is our body's first line of defense. It filters dust bacteria and allergens before they reach the lungs. If you don't clean your nose properly, tiny particles build up, leading to inflammation and congestion. Over time, that affects your sleep, your oxygen levels, your memory, and even your mood, without you realizing it. From that moment, Rosa began a new journey, learning how to breathe again. Every morning after washing her face, she gently wiped around her nose with a warm cloth, as if cleaning a baby's cheeks. 3 times a week, she used a saline rinse bottle. It felt strange at first, but soon became second nature. On dry winter nights, she added a few drops of pure coconut oil to her nasal passages before bed. And every evening, she prepared a bowl of hot water with peppermint oil, leaning over it for a few minutes of soothing steam. The changes didn't come overnight, but they came. After 2 weeks, she no longer woke up gasping or congested. In the morning, her head felt clear again, light, like a weight had been lifted. She told Dr. Harris, "It feels like my breath has come back to me." For someone who had grown used to heaviness and mental fog, being able to take a deep, satisfying breath felt like a real gift. Dr. Harris added one final thought. Good breathing means good circulation. It keeps the brain well oxygenated. That's the foundation of sharp thinking, deep sleep, and emotional balance, especially after 60. Now, whenever Rosa looks out that window, she doesn't just see traffic below. She feels the air reach all the way to the bottom of her lungs, and to her, that's nothing short of a miracle. No medicine, no expensive equipment, just a few mindful minutes a day to remember. The nose needs care too, just like every other part of the body. 5. Belly button, small but never to be forgotten. Mr. David, 76, lives alone in a quiet seaside town in California. He used to be a carpenter. His hands always clean, precise, just like the way he lived. His home is neat and orderly. His bathroom is fully stocked, separate towels for his face, body, and feet clean brushes everything in its place. To him, personal hygiene isn't just a habit. It's a matter of self-respect. And yet for nearly a year he noticed something odd, a faint but persistent odor near his lower abdomen. It wasn't overpowering, but it was there, enough to make him uncomfortable. He tried changing body wash, washed every piece of clothing, even adjusted his diet, less meat, more greens, herbal teas. But the smell didn't go away, until one afternoon while changing shirts in front of the mirror, he happened to glance down. His belly button looked slightly damp, and inside was a thin, light brown residue. He blinked in surprise. That was the first time in years. He'd really paid attention to his navel, a part of his body he had always assumed was harmless, something not worth worrying about. During his next checkup, he told Dr. Emma Harris the story a little sheepishly, but she just smiled and gently said, "Frank, the belly button is one of the dirtiest places on the body, and also one of the most overlooked," she explained further. The navel is a small, warm, enclosed space, perfect for trapping sweat, dead skin fabric lint, and leftover soap from your showers. And for older adults who have more sensitive skin and weaker immune systems that build up can easily lead to bad smells, irritation, or even infections if ignored. From that day on, Mr. David added a new step to his bathroom routine, simple but surprisingly helpful. 2 or 3 times a week, he wrapped a clean, soft cloth around his fingertip, moistened it with warm water, and gently cleaned around and inside his belly button. Because his navel was deep, he sometimes used a cotton swab dipped in saline solution to reach and clean the corners. Finally, he dried it thoroughly with a clean towel, as carefully as if he were wiping the skin around his eyes, and within just a few days the results were clear. The strange odor disappeared completely. Even after long days out and about, the skin around his belly felt dry, clean, and fresh, not damp or sticky anymore. And perhaps most importantly, his confidence returned whenever he was with his grandkids or out seeing friends. Mr. David said, "No one ever thinks about the belly button, but that small hidden place can collect just as much bacteria as your feet or underarms." To him, what mattered wasn't the size of the area, but whether or not he gave it attention. Because in the end, the body is an interconnected system, and it's often the smallest details that make the biggest difference. Closing, 5 small areas, 5 big changes. From Mr. Frank, who breathed easier thanks to tongue cleaning, to Mrs. Helen, who walked with confidence again after caring for her feet each night. From Mr. Thomas, whose underarms, once thought clean, were quietly causing him discomfort. To Mrs. Rosa, who rediscovered deep, restful sleep simply by tending to her breath. And Mr. David, who regained a fresh, easy feeling each day just by paying attention to one small, forgotten spot, his belly button. 5 people, 5 new habits, 5 clear changes, all beginning with small areas of the body, familiar yet often overlooked. No one teaches us to clean our tongues dry between our toes, or properly wash our underarms before using deodorant. And maybe that's why we assume those areas are fine, until the body begins to speak up. After 60, the body doesn't grow old all at once. It simply grows quieter. It no longer shouts when something's wrong, but instead sends soft signals, a heavy breath, a restless night, a small crack in the heel, a yellowed shirt. Those little things, sometimes they're just the body's way of saying, "Come back, pay a little more attention to me." At ElderlyTV, we believe living well doesn't begin with big changes, not with pricey supplements, not with strict diets, but with something much simpler, taking a moment each day to dry one extra spot, to shift one small habit. It's the small things that bring the greatest comfort, the simplest care that brings lightness, confidence, and peace to each breath. If today's stories touched you in any way, please share this video with someone you care about, because one quiet tip, one gentle reminder, might ease the silent burdens someone else carries in their body too. And if you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to ElderlyTV. We'll keep listening, keep telling the little stories, the ones that make a big difference in your health, your comfort, and your joy in later life.